What kind of leadership changes happen in a year like this? I know there's a lot of talk about getting guys back on the ice and trying to find your legs and things like that. But from a leadership standpoint, what changes in a year like this?
I think a lot of things change, obviously, with the way things are in the world today, and obviously for our season. I think first and foremost, I think everyone, um, from myself to guys playing in their first year, got to realize the amount of work behind the scenes that have been done to get us to be able to play this season, and I think everyone has an appreciation for that. That we've gone so long without playing, and a lot has gone in to get us to this point to be able to play. So to be able to do the right things off the ice and put ourselves in the best position to not lose games and be ready to play. I think that appreciation has to be there from the guys, and I think it is. So talking to everybody, and but for us, I think, and myself especially, is to make sure everyone is on the same page, that we have an opportunity to play, and it's to be grateful for that, and make sure everyone's doing the right things on and off the ice, to keep this train rolling, and get off to a good start on the ice, and do the right things to be able to keep playing games.
I know as a follow up, it's easy sometimes to talk to guys on the bench or in the locker room, and when it comes to the game, to kind of give guys some finer points and some advice. But when it comes to off the ice, does it ever feel like maybe you might feel like I'm overstepping my bounds to make sure I tell a guy to wear a mask, or I might feel like I'm overstepping my duties to try to tell people what to do off the ice? Does it ever feel that way?
I think in the beginning, maybe because it's so new that these are things that you know you're used to harping on guys for other things, and now you got to harp on them about things like that. But I think our team's actually done a very good job at making sure that we are doing the right things, wearing masks, social distancing, and all those things that we have to do to be able to play, because we understand that this is an opportunity that we've been given to be able to play, and we got to take full advantage of it. So it's obviously different, a different list of things that you got to make sure guys are on top of. But between myself and the other leaders we have here that we've been fortunate enough to have, and the coaching staff, I think it makes my job and their jobs easier, that we're all doing it as a collective group, that we're all behind the same things to be able to give ourselves the chance to play this year. So it's definitely different, a different way that you got to do it, and different things you got to harp on. But I think the group that we have here is a good tight group. Even with the newer guys that we have, everyone seems that we're on the same page, and it makes my job and the coach's job, everyone's job, easier.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Next up, Larry Figursky from Wood TV.
Hey, Lash, how are you?
I'm good, Larry. How are you?
Good. Thanks for doing this. Hey, you mentioned the pretty tight group. There's always turnover at the AHL level, but I mean, with so many guys, like Valeno overseas, I don't know if you would have had Sider back, but with him overseas, the added taxi squad has more players in Detroit, with Taco up there, people like that. The faces that aren't back, there is still a lot of change in this team this year, isn't there? I mean, how difficult is that in a very short rush into a short season?
Well, it's definitely different. I mean, that's the nature of this league. A lot of times, your roster can change year to year. It could also change day to day. And I think this year is going to be probably even more so like that. I think you're going to have days where you're going to have, your team, or a team that you think is going to be your guys, and then, and then the next week it could be completely different. So it's going to be more so like that this year. But I think what we've tried to do in the past and is create a culture here that is competitive, but also fun, and guys want to come to the rink every day. They want to come to the rink to practice, and they have fun doing it. And we're fortunate enough to be in a great city like Grand Rapids that gives us the ability to, enjoy being at Van Andel, but also, it's a great place to live as well. So the turnovers is definitely, one of the things that we've had to deal with in the past, for sure. This year more so than others. But we've been fortunate enough to have a lot of good, human beings that have come in here that make a lot of make my job easier, and a lot of the older guys' jobs easier. They can seamlessly come in and just be a part of that culture that we've tried to build here over the last number of years.
And just one other follow-up. Not that in a 70 or 80 game season you're like, hey, a 5-game losing streak's no big deal, but obviously with this compact, small schedule, can you talk about how important it is to start well and not have any really long streaks? You can get doomed pretty quickly if you're only playing 34 games.
Yeah, I think getting off to a good start is really important. I think that's something that we have focused on this week during training camp, is being as ready as we possibly can. I think the guys that were in camp in Detroit, got to do that and give us a little bit more of a head start. But now that everyone's here, I think it's, you gotta be ready off the bat, be ready off the start. And then, like you said, I think with the schedule the way it is too, and you have a game on a Friday and then you might not play till the next week, I think practice, you're gonna have to take advantage of your practice time and make sure it's competitive, and make sure the guys are on it every single day, because when the games come, sometimes they're far between each other. You're going to need to be, giving yourself the best opportunity to make sure you're battle ready for those games that are on the weekend. So using your practice time as wisely as possible, as far as being competitive as possible, is going to give you the best chance to be ready, every single game, because, like you said, 1 loss, 2 losses in a row can really put you back in the standings, but especially when you're just playing your own division the whole time.
We got it now. Hi, Riley. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm well. Hey, I was down at Red Wings training camp, maybe 3 practices, and most times you guys weren't wearing jersey numbers, so I know most of the guys from working for the Griffins and obviously the Wings, just by body types out there. And I kept finding you out there and shooting video and wondering the days I was there, you seemed to make a really good impression on the Red Wings in practice and even in the red and white game I was at. But how did you feel about, the impressions you made on the Wings and, what it leads to you playing here in Grand Rapids to try to get an opportunity to go there now?
Yeah, I think I made a really good impression. I mean, I was ready for the season. I got COVID right before training camp, so that kind of definitely made me get off to maybe a little slower start than I'd like. But everybody's dealing with the COVID situation right now, and I'm glad to be healthy. And I thought, I definitely had a good showing, and I've been playing in the East, mainly for my whole career. So, it's kind of nice to get out to the West and see some new faces, and also, show some new faces what I got.
What have you heard about Grand Rapids? And, just are you excited to, to have an opportunity to play here?
Yeah, I mean, Grand Rapids has a great reputation around the league. I was fortunate enough to play in Hershey for parts of 4 years, and that's another big market for the American League. And, everybody knows about Grand Rapids. I grew up in Livonia since I was 13. I moved from Pittsburgh. So, I'm very familiar with Grand Rapids. I had, a couple buddies attend school here and also live here. So I'm very familiar with it. And, we only got to play maybe once or twice here with Hershey. And it's always a family event and everybody comes up and watches. So, I was extremely excited to have the opportunity to come to this great city. And so far I love it. I mean, I live right across the rink now, and, me and my dog go on walks and kind of live the city life. So I really like it.
Sweet. I grew up in Canton, by the way, so right down by Livonia. Played
Yeah.
Livonia times. What is there something in particular that they have told you or you yourself are saying, hey, here's something you've proven you can put the puck in the net and everything. Is there something you're like, this is what I'm going to work on because this is what I need to get to that, to the next step and play in the NHL?
Yeah, I mean, I think this year, being in the organization with Hershey and Washington when they had really, really good NHL teams for 4 years, maybe not getting the look or the opportunity that I would like. And then going last year and playing 9 games in the NHL with Montreal. This year I'm coming in with a totally different outlook, and I know I'm confident myself that I can play up there and I can produce. And it all starts with a day-to-day waking up. And right now I'm playing in GR and I can't wait for Friday. I think as you get older and you mature, you start to be grateful for a lot of things, especially with this COVID situation and just being able to play hockey for a living. So, obviously there's little things that, you think you can get better on that can, make you stick at that NHL level. I worked really hard this summer with Barwis, just getting my body ready for the season, and thought I, made a good stride during camp, and, even with the taxi squad, making good plays and look good during practice there. But I think everybody knows once the puck drops, that's when it really matters. And, I'm just looking towards every day to get better and to continue to play at that level I know I can in this league.
Thank you very much. Hey, good luck to you. Look forward to meeting you when the time arises.
Yeah, thank you. Go Stevenson.
All right, next question is Jamal Spencer from WZZM 13.
Hey, man, I'm from Detroit, so I guess we got an East Side thing going here.
There we go. East side is good.
All right.
I know you answered some questions I already were going to ask you, but I wanted to touch on you mentioning having COVID early in camp and how it set you back a little bit. Have you been using that firsthand experience to talk to some of your teammates at all? Have you used that to kind of not necessarily warn people, but kind of just inform people of what, they could encounter should something like that happen to them?
Yeah, exactly. I think, our staff here and everybody in the Detroit organization is doing an unbelievable job at keeping us, I guess up to date with the information and everything. But, I think that, from a lot of the guys that have already had it, the experience for everybody's different. With me getting it right before training camp, right around Christmas time, I mean, that set me back, at least 10 to 14 days of no training. And definitely when the training camp start, you're a little bit behind, and then you slowly get back to it. I mean, you can kind of see it in the NFL where guys are saying they just needed a couple days to get back, to where they were. So yeah, definitely, I think it's a big thing, and we don't want to miss any games because of it.
Does this camp feel any different to you in terms of trying to work your lines and figure out the chemistry with guys, or in the second day of camp, have things kind of seemed pretty much normal for you?
Well, it's always an ever-evolving puzzle, I think, and trying to find the right guys in chemistry like that. But I think the reality of it is in the American League, your roster can change with one phone call. So, we try not to get set in our ways too much or our hopes too high to lock anything down. Today we did power play and penalty kill, and we used everyone on the PK and everyone on the PP, because if there is a phone call that comes and guys are called up, guys have to know what they're doing and their responsibilities are, and really just the identity that we want to play with. So it's, we've got some ideas what we want, but again, we have to be a little bit more realistic with kind of the crazy world that we live in right now.
And my last one for you before I turn over to Larry, from an experience standpoint, are you expecting anything different of your leaders this year? I was talking to Lashoff about, having to maybe get on guys about things that you normally wouldn't have to get on guys about, how they take care of themselves off the ice, for example. So when you look at your leaders this year, are you, emboldening them to, speak up a little bit more than normal?
No, I think that the guys that are natural leaders, and we've got a phenomenal group in there, an experienced group with some of our guys. I think that the group themselves kind of empowers each other, but I think it is important just with the accountability and dependability to each other is kind of self-policing with regard to the protocols. But again, in terms of the culture that we want to build here, the guys that we're going to lean on hard are those guys that live it every day. So, we've got a fantastic group there. I don't want to mention names because I'll probably leave guys out, but just as a whole, I think we've got a solid group of individuals.
Thanks.
Sure.
Hey, Benny, how are you?
I'm doing well. Is that Larry?
Yeah, how are you, man?
Hi, buddy. How are you?
I'm well. Hey, when I was down at camp for a couple of practices, obviously the guys didn't have numbers on, and I know most of the guys from your team, obviously from the Wings, and I kept noticing this 26 out there. He was sharpshooting everything. Maybe it was just a couple of days I was there, but I mean, I wanted to ask you about Riley Barber. When I was there, I was like, who is this guy? He was very noticeable. Was it just that coincidence, or what did you see in this guy down in camp? He sounded like he made a pretty favorable impression.
Yeah, well, again, Riley Barber, he's got a tremendous shot. He's proven in the time that he's spent in the American League that he can provide some offense. So we're looking forward to hoping that he can continue that trend with our team and to contribute offensively. But what I like the most about Barb's is his demeanor, his compete level, his attitude every day he comes to the rink. He's just got he helps drive the pace of practice. And when you're your offensive guys and your go-to guys are setting that in the other categories, are setting the bar in the other categories, it's a good recipe for success. So, we haven't had him that long here. Camp in Detroit, a couple days here, last few weeks with optionals, him getting settled in, he's been a good fit so far.
One question about your goaltending, is it just going to be, I guess it's going to be like a lot of stuff, just depending on who has to be on the taxi squad up there? Have they, told you, will Calvin be back here, or was that just ever changing?
Well, it's ever changing. I mean, they've got, a plan in place, and we're part of that plan as to how we're going to be used, as to how they execute their plan. But, it's a different situation with guys on a taxi squad. It's, hard to balance sometimes the quality of player you want up there, but also with being able to put in game situations. It's tough if you're not playing in game situations. You're sitting just practicing for weeks on end, that you lose that kind of game shape, that game mentality, and those instincts from game situations. So we're just rolling with the punches, and what they decide, that's what we're going to do. But we've got, throughout the organization, with the guys that could potentially be here, more than capable group.